And we're in Gittin Vav Aleph.
Well, if one says, accept this get from my wife, or take this get to my wife, if he wants to retract, he can retract. If a woman said, receive my get from me, if the husband wants to retract, he cannot retract. Therefore, if the husband said to him, I do not want you to accept it for her, rather take it and give it to her. If he wants to retract, he can retract. And Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says also, if she says, take my get from me, if he wants to retract, he cannot retract. If a woman said, receive my gift from me, she needs two pairs of witnesses. Two who say she said so in my presence, and two who say he received it in our presence, and he tore it up. Even if the first witnesses are the same ones as the second ones, or if the one is from the first pair and one from the second pair, another joined with each of them. If a Nara is betrothed, she or her father can receive her get. Rabbi Yehuda said, two hands cannot make acquisitions as one. Rather, her father alone receives her get, and anyone who is unable to take care of her get cannot be divorced. If a minor girl said, receive my get from me, it is not a get until he reaches her hand. Therefore, if the husband wants to retract, he can retract because a minor cannot appoint an agent. But a father said to him, go receive my daughter's get from me, and if he went to retract, he cannot retract. If one says, give this get to my wife in such and such a place, and he gave it to her in a different place, it is void. If he said, she is in such and such a place, and he gave it to her in a different place, it is valid. A woman said, receive my gift from me in such and such a place, and he received it for her in a different place, it's void. If Eliezer validates it, if she said, bring my get from such and such a place, and he brought it to her from a different place, it is valid. Okay.
Okay. Have li giti. So a woman says to so this is a situation of a Bas Israel who's married to a Kohen and she has no children. Okay, which means she is allowed to eat truma by virtue of the fact that she's married to the Kohen. But if he divorces her or dies, then she goes back to her status as a Bas Israel and cannot eat truma. If she had children, then she keeps her status of eating truma as long as her children are alive. Okay, so this Bas Israel gets word that her husband is going to divorce her, and she appoints a shaliach and says, go and get my get for me. Ocheles b'truma ad shiyagia get liada. Now, because her wording was such that she said, bring me my get, not accept my get on my behalf. She's not actually appointing a shaliach. She's just getting a messenger to bring a get, and it'll only take effect once she actually receives it. Therefore, she can continue to eat truma until she actually receives the get. Okay. His kabel li giti, however, she phrases it, please receive my get on my behalf. Asura le'echol b'truma miyad. And as soon as the shaliach walks out the door and she no longer knows whether he's received the get on her behalf or not, she immediately, from the doubt, she must stop eating truma because any moment now he could receive the get and then she's not allowed to eat. Is kabel li giti b'makom ploni. If she says you must receive my get for me in such and such a place, then the timer starts. She knows how long it can reasonably take to receive the get in such and such a place. And since we've already said in the previous Mishnah that it's only valid if he receives it in that place. So if he received it somewhere else, it's not yet valid. He has to take it to that place. So however long it takes is how much she can measure. Ocheles b'truma ad sheyagia get le'osa makom. So so as long as it takes for the messenger to get to that place, she can continue eating truma, but then she has to stop. Rabbi Eliezer, however, if you recall in the previous Mishnah, he said that she can be divorced against her will. Therefore, it doesn't matter where the get is received, and and therefore she can therefore she has to be choshesh immediately that as soon as the her shaliach leaves, maybe he received it on her behalf, and therefore Rabbi Eliezer says no, you may not eat truma at all from now. Okay.
Don't they,
Hmm?
don't they need shouldn't there be a bezdin there? Doing all of this in front of a bezdin?
It doesn't matter.
Because,
You don't need a beis din, you need witnesses.
uh, okay.
Okay,
All
so
right.
witnesses can be anybody.
Okay.
All right. Mishnah, hey. Ha'omer kisvu get utnu leishti. So a man says, write a get and give it to my wife. Garshuha, Or if she, or also if he says Garshuha, divorce her, Kisvu Igeres Utnula, write the letter and give it to her. Hare Elu Yichtuv V'Yitnu. So that is a full instruction to whoever he spoke to continue his the shlichus, which is basically write out the get for her and give it to her. And so he's a busy man and he doesn't want to get involved. But he's given the instructions and it's fine. However, if he gives an impartial if he gives a partial instruction, if he says pitruha, like fire her, right, get rid of her, or paranasuha, sustain her, which would be the provisions of the kasuba, in other words, pay out her kasuba. It could be implied as that. Asulaka nimos, you know, this is kind of mob talk. Uh, deal with her, deal with her properly. Asula karaoi, yes, right, deal properly with her. Lo amar club, that's just a hint. Mob talk about deal with her. It could mean something else. And when it comes to halacha and divorces, we don't take the hints of in that way. However, barishona hayu amrim hayotze bekolar. Now, what happens if a guy has been captured and he's being led away in chains? V'amar kisvu get ishti. If he just says write a get for my wife, but he failed to say give it to her. Hare elu yichtavu v'yitnu. They must nonetheless write the get and give it to him because the assumption is that the guy was in a he was behala, he was in a he wasn't calm. He was being taken away in chains, and all he's trying to think is just let my wife be free. So he said write the get and he forgot to say hand it over. We know what he meant. We know why he wanted to do it, and therefore we nonetheless give her the get. That was the original thing. Chazru lomar af hamefarish v'hayotze b'shiara. Even somebody who gets on a boat to sail to overseas, or yotze b'shiara, or he's in the army and he's going out to battle, and he gives an incomplete instruction to divorce his wife. We nonetheless accept that, okay, this is because his mind's not in it, and we know what he really wanted to do, so therefore we complete the divorce. Rabbi Shimon Shazuri Omer Afa Masukan, and Rabbi Shimon Shazuri also adds the case of somebody who is dying, and he gives and let's say why would a dying man do that? Because he would maybe he doesn't want his wife to fall for yibum. Okay. Mi shehaya mushlach labor. So there's a guy who's been thrown into a pit or a prison or whatever. V'amar kol hashomes kolo yichtov get leishto, and he's busy yelling out, "Please let my wife be divorced. Whoever hears me, my name is Fred, and my wife's name is Zelda. Please, write a get for her and let her go free." And he's just yelling into the air. Hare elu yichtov v'yitnu. So if somebody hears him, okay, that's good. Do it. Habari she'amar kisvu get leishti. But if a healthy person says, write a get for my wife, and he doesn't say give it to her, ratza l'sachek ba. Maybe he's just doing it to taunt her. And say, look what I've got over here. Should I give it to you? Should I not give it to you? Okay. So he's a jerk, but nonetheless, that you can't force a divorce just because he's a jerk. Okay, Maaseh bebari echad she'amar kisvu get liishti. There was actually a case of a healthy person who said, write a get for my wife. Va'ala lerosh hagag. And then, having written the get for his wife, he climbed up to the roof of his house, and he fell and he died. So this is an interesting situation. So was this a situation where he was planning to commit suicide? In which case he falls into the category of somebody who's bebehala, and he just wanted to divorce his wife and make sure that she was not going to fall for yibum. Or maybe it was just an accident that he was preparing a get and he wasn't sure yet. So Amar Rabban Shimon bin Gamliel Amru Chachamim Im me'atzmo nafal. If he jumped, in other words, if he fell because he jumped, hare ze get, then yes, this is a get because he was not of sound mind. He was not that he wasn't of sound mind because then he's a shote, but that he was babehala. He was in a panic. He had decided he was going to do himself in, and now he wanted to make sure that his wife would not fall for yibum. Then so this is a get. Im haruach decha'ato eno get. But if it was just a stum accident where there was a gust of wind that knocked him off, and he wasn't intending to die, then this is not a get because he didn't give the instruction to hand it over. So it all hinges on whether this was a suicide. Okay,
Okay, yeah, Gimel,
back to
Gimel Vav.
Gimel Vav.
If one was bringing a get from overseas and became ill, the court appoints another and sends him, and he says before them, "It was written in my presence and signed in my presence." The latter agent did not say, "It was written in my presence and signed in my presence." Rather, he says, "I am an agent of the court." One who lends money to a Kohen, a Levi, or a poor person on the condition to separate their portions instead, they separate in its stead on the assumption that they are alive, and he need not be concerned that a Kohen or Levi may have died, or the poor man became wealthy. If they died, he must obtain permission from his heirs. If he lent them before the court, he need not obtain permission from the heirs. One who put aside produce to separate truma and tithes with them, or money to separate the second tithe with them, they separate with them on the assumption that they are still in existence. If they were lost, he must be cautious regarding a period of 24 hours. These are the words of Elazar and Shammai. Yehuda says at the 3 points in time, the wine may be examined at the time of the east wind, which is after the festival, with the emergence of the budding berries, at the time that the wit enters the unripe grapes. Okay.
Okay.
Nazir. Okay, we have Tess Olive. Non-Jews who do not have the Nazaris, women and slaves do not have the Nazaris. There's an aspect of greater stringency applying to women than to slaves, for one can force a slave to violate his Nazaris, but he cannot force his wife. There is an aspect of greater stringency applying to slaves than to women. One can revoke his wife's vows, but he cannot revoke his slave's vows. If he revokes for his wife, he is revoked permanently. If he revoked for the slave, he went free and he completes his Nazaris. If the slave passed from his master's presence, Meir says he may not drink, but Rabbi Yossi says he may drink. A Nazir who shaved and then it became known to him that he was a Tameh. If it was due to a known tumor, he forfeits it. If it was due to a tumor of the depths, he does not forfeit. If he has not yet shaved when it became known to him, then regardless of which tumor it was, he forfeits. How so? If a man descended into a cave to immerse himself, and a corpse was found floating at the mouth of the cave, it is Tameh. If he was found sunken in the floor of the cave, he has gone down to cool himself, it is Tahor. Purify himself from tumor of the dead, he is Tameh. Because someone Tameh is presumed to remain Tameh, while someone Tahor is presumed to remain Tahor, for the matter is indicated. Someone who finds a corpse for the first time lying on it in its usual manner may remove it along with the surrounding earth. If he found 2 corpses, he may remove them along with the surrounding earth. If he found 3 corpses, the distance between this one and that one is from 4 to 8 cubits. It is a graveyard zone. He must search for their outward a distance of 20 cubits. If he found one at the end of 20 cubits, he searches for their outward a distance of 20 cubits. For the matter is indicated, although he has found it at the first, that he would have roofed it together with the surrounding earth.
Okay. Yo vamos.
Vamos.
Okay, Tesvav. Hey, yeah. So,
That's why Dalit.
yep.
That's why Dalit.
Dalit, correct.
If everyone is believed to testify for her, except for her mother-in-law's daughter, and her co-wife, and her sister's co-daughter-in-law, and her husband's daughter, why is there a difference between testimony concerning a bill of divorce and testimony concerning death? Because the document is proof. If one witness said he died and she remarried, and then another came and said he did not die, he need not be discharged. If one witness said he died and 2 witnesses said he did not die, even if she remarried, she must be discharged. If 2 witnesses said he died and 1 witness said he did not die, even if she had remarried, may not have even if she had not remarried, she may do so. For one wife, for one wife who said he died, and one said he did not die. The one who said he died may marry and collect a ketubah, while the other one who said he did not die may not marry or collect her ketubah. If one said he died and one said he was killed, Rabbi Meir says, since they can to contradict each other, they may not remarry. Rabbi Yehuda said, Rabbi Shimon says, if both agree that he is divorced, they are deceased, he may remarry. If one witness said he died and one witness said he did not die, or a woman said he died and a woman said he did not die, she may not remarry. One more. If a woman went overseas with her husband and then came and said, "My husband died," she may remarry and collect her kasuba, but her co-wife is forbidden. If it was a Yisrael's daughter married to a Kohen, she may eat truma. These are the words of Reb Tarfon. Rabbi Akiva says this is not the way to deliver her from sin. Let her be forbidden from remarrying and forbidden from eating truma.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to have to go now.
Okay, I'll
So,
finish these.
so I'll let you do the rest of the chazaras yourself.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Have a
No
great
worries.
day.
Okay,
Bye.
you too. Cheers.